Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogbo333, and welcome back to the new campaign trail for the month of July. Now, last time we were here together, we hopped into the year 2004, where, as Mr. Joe Lieberman, we won the normal 2004 election against George W. Bush. And now we have a little incumbency game to play. Joe 08. Very nice, very simple. No tricks, no trills. Just a nice, simple mod today. Joe Lieberman's presidency has been nothing short of a disappointment. Taking voters by surprise in 04, he snatched a nomination away from the field anti-war leftists and took his momentum all the way to the White House. He made a promise to clean up the mess that Bush had made, but with a viciously partisan Congress, full of uncooperative conservatives and unruly liberals. His bipartisan agenda has been as good as dead since day one. The failed domestic agenda and the Iraq war remaining a thorn in Joe's side, it's unlikely that his career will be able to survive past November. Hell, some are even questioning whether or not he can even survive the primaries. Regardless, it's going to be an uphill battle for Lieberman, and if he wants to stay in the White House for 4 more years, he's going to have to fight. Go back for a second. Yeah, that's a lot. It kind of looks like a creature you'd see in a horror movie. It looks like it would unhinge its jaw and try to eat you. That's very disconcerting. Was it worth it? That's the question, isn't it? This wasn't supposed to happen. It was a complete wipeout. State after state called for Kucinich, with only most conservative regions voting for Lieberman. Joe wasn't even invited to speak at his own party's convention. It's not like he would have anyhow. He was too bitter about Kucinich's usurpation of his nomination of his party, but he hasn't lost just yet. It's a risky idea running third party, but Joe knows that letting either of them, Kucinich or Tancredo, win would be disastrous. Catastrophic. He has to stop them. It's his duty as the president to safeguard America and her people from these radicals. The center must hold. Well, our vice president is, for now, Tom Vilsack. For now. Vilsack, the incumbent VP, has been a useful enough ally to the president these last 4 years. A loyal Democrat, his likability among rank-and-file Dems has proved him instrumental in getting some of the more liberal parts of the Lieberman's agenda passed to Congress. This establishmentarian attitude, however, has earned him the ire of many figures of the left, especially so due to his tepid support for the Iraq War. In addition, as a loyal party man, Vilsack is unlikely to support the president's independent re-election bid. Trying to win him over might just not be possible. Well, let's see. Oh, hey, H-Dog, how you doing? Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, hello. In the aftermath of Kucinich's triumph at the DNC, this is concerning. Many are wondering whether or not you're going to run third party. Of course, you are, but how are you going to announce it? Well, now is the time for unity in our country. We are facing a threat of radicalism and partisanship from both sides, and I'm the only one willing to compromise and reach across the aisle. It's an idealistic approach, but one that easily resonates with moderates nationwide. The platform of compromises and unity serves as a welcome contrast to your opponent's appeals to anti-establishment rage. Vilsack, on the other hand, is much less keen on third-party run than you. It's not that he doesn't like you, he says. It's about being a spoiler. Letting Tancredo win. He's made up his mind, and he will not be running on your ticket this year. Who are you going to tap as his replacement? Well, my friend John McCain is a no-brainer. We need to expand our reach with Republicans, and no, John won't be able to refuse campaigning with his old pal, Joe. After a lot of deliberation, McCain accepts your offer, not wanting to leave his good friend behind. This show of cross-partisan unity burns any bridges you had with the left, but moderate Republicans do see this as an olive branch. And there we are. So we start off, that's 18 electoral votes versus Tom Tancredo, who has 270, and Dennis Kucinich, 250. See, we're ahead in Connecticut, looks like. and Arizona. Somewhere else. That's not giving us credit right now. Maine? No. Oh, we're pretty close behind Maine. Well, we're going right to the heart of the nation, its capital, Washington, D.C. Let's go. Terrible news, Joe. The Lehman Brothers mortgage lender just declared bankruptcy, marking the bursting of the real estate bubble. It's the worst economic crisis since 1929, and the country is placing the blame squarely on you. What is your response? Well, we need to pass something reasonable, something that everyone can agree on. Only most necessary institutions should get bailouts. The fundamentals of the economy must be sound. It's not much, but it is a start. Congress attempted to tack some more emergency measures on your proposal, but you shot them down. Overall, though, Americans are pleased to see you leading them in this time of crisis. On the bright side, you've managed to meet the qualifications for the first debate, and you scheduled to debate Kucinich and Tancredo next week. Well, that's a relief. That it is. DC, here we go. First up is Kucinich. He's up at his podium, smiling as he calls you a war criminal. The moderator asks you, how will you differentiate yourself from Kucinich? You're both Democrats, but what makes you different? Well, Kucinich has no real legislative accomplishments. All he cares about is impeaching people he disagrees with. I'd like to ask him, what exactly was his reasoning for trying to impeach me? He really fumbles this one. When he vaguely says something about abuse of power, you press him further. What abuse occurred? What about it was illegal? Eventually he backs down, and you're seen as the sensible one. Well, there we go. We're still horribly behind. With Kucinich dealt with, your focus shifts to Tancredo. He's in a shouting match with Kucinich about how the immigrants and the gays and the Muslims are ruining this country for the red-blooded, God-fearing American. He glares at you when he talks about his Christian faith. It's your job to cut him down to size, really humble him. The question is how. I was trying to change the narrative on immigration. There is no crisis, nor is there some kind of illegal invasion like he says. We're a nation of immigrants, and we should embrace that. Tancredo flops on this, claiming you and Kucinich are just liberal elites who don't understand the kind of problems that real America faces. Kucinich hits back, calling Tancredo a racist and turning the debate into a shouting match between the two of them. You seem like the only decent candidate in the end. Well, oh, I forgot to go through the issues. I apologize. I have overtime today that I'm trying to work for, so I'm about to work 8 to 6 hour shift, or 8 to 6 shift. But I haven't recorded this video yet, and I need to make sure I don't leave my true Lieberman Patriots hanging on this lovely day. Is this all just Slipknot? Okay, there's some more. Oh, Radiohead, hell yeah. Window looker, I don't think I can include that. Go shows. Nice, okay. DC. You've consistently faced opposition due to your support for the Iraq War, especially considering your recent troop surge in the region, which was largely considered a blunder. Both of the other candidates have made this a major talking point in their campaigns and was the main reason for your loss in the primaries. Has your position changed at all? No. I've never been one to back down like this. We're closer than ever before to securing a democratic future for the Iraqi people, all thanks to my troop surge. Parents want to know why you keep sending their sons to fight in this endless war. Both Tancredo and Kucinich have worried mothers speak at the rallies, accusing you of sending their boys to die. Everything that's been going on since September, healthcare has been a big issue in this campaign. It's one issue where you have an edge, however, with Medicare expansion being a prime talking point of yours back in 2004. The question is, where do you stand now? I'll stick with our old messaging. Not enough people who need Medicare have access to it. Under my plan, low-income households would gain access to Medicare that they otherwise wouldn't have. Kucinich attacks your plan for not going far enough, while Tancredo says it'll put a strain on taxpayers. But maybe taking the middle row is the better option when you're stuck between these two. How are we doing? We have 20 electoral votes now. Wow. New Hampshire, no. Gonna keep heading to DC. I have a vision. You'll have to trust me on this one. Congress is currently discussing how to deal with the country's economic woes, what little political power you have, how to address the country's economic troubles. Well, I don't have enough sway in Congress to do anything massive, but I'll offer my support for a small stimulus bill. Hopefully this can support some fiscal conservatives without alienating liberals too much. For once, even Congress can actually agree on something, well, no one is exactly satisfied, no one's really offended either. You're relieved to simply have gotten something passed. Tancredo has gone from a thorn in your side to your main competitor from moderate conservative votes. The only way you have a chance with moderates is if you can call attention to his radicalism. Well, he wants to paint me as weak on terror, but my administration has made great yet reasonable strides in fighting for freedom in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Tancredo wants to bomb Muslim holy sites. How does he expect that to fix anything? Did he really? I only know these figures like tangentially as cultural figures or political figures, so this is all new to me. Reeling in your hawkishness was a good move. With this, you've actually made Tancredo seem like the more trigger-happy candidate and made inroads with moderate Republicans. Go to D.C. Over the course of the campaign, Tancredo's taken illegal immigration from a small regional issue to a prominent point of debate. Pointing to his leadership in Congress regarding the issue, Tancredo calls the UN and even Bush out for being weak on the border. How do you stop them from defining the issue? Well, it's simple. If there's a crisis at the border, the way to fix it is by increasing border security, and moderation, of course. Nice edge. By taking a strong yet reasonable stand on the issue, you seem more willing to get things done without looking like a radical. 20. Still. Since you're polling high enough, McCain has been invited to the VVP debate between him, Speaker Mike Pence, and Senator Ned Lamont. What should be his strategy going into this? Well, McCain should take on Lamont. I want to show Kuchinik that I'm the real Democrat in this race, and that real Democrats believe in moderation and bipartisanship. McCain readily held his own against Lamont, who tried and failed to attack him on Iraq. McCain was seen as the victor. Well, DC, here we go. Meanwhile, every election year, gun control comes up as a major divisive issue. Of course, this year is no different. Kuchinik and Tancredo have taken the expected positions on the issue, giving you a lot of room in between them to decide your stance for yourself. I'll throw a bone to conservatives and loosen up my policy on firearms. Nothing too radical-minded, just something small like loosening requirements on trigger locks or reducing background checks. Joe Gun strikes again. Republicans eat this up, but liberals are as expected, are turned away by this. One area where you'd rather run around a liberal on is gay rights. You vote against Bush's constitutional ban of same-sex marriage and support of the Employment Non-Discrimination Act. How will you use this to your advantage? Stay the course. I'll continue to support civil unions rather than going all the way to gay marriage. Democrats aren't opposed to civil unions, right? It's a broadly popular position and helps you bring liberals back into the fold. America just isn't ready for gay marriage yet, but maybe you can push for that in your second term. Funny idea. Increasingly, both major party candidates have come out in opposition to free trade policies, while you've historically been in favor of trade agreements such as NAFTA and CAFTA. How will we tackle the issue of trade on the campaign trail? Excuse me. Well, NAFTA has been a net positive for the country. It has boosted the economy, kept prices low for consumers, and actually created more jobs than it costs. Though I have some reservations with its provisions, I will continue to support it in our other trade agreements. It's good to differentiate yourself when your opponents are both arguing the same thing. You did exactly that while seeming like the reasonable one in the room. Kuchinik's been a major annoyance for your campaign ever since he first announced his run in 2007. Time and time again, he's proved to be an annoyance, constantly swaying liberal voters away from you. The time has come, Joe. Teach him a lesson. Call him out on the most bizarre parts of his platform: lowering the drinking age, ending work visas, legalizing medical marijuana, not to mention his baseless attempts to impeach me. Never let him live it down. Hit him where it hurts. Kucinich struggles to defend himself against your genuine criticism of his platform, while even liberal Americans are put off by a strange, radical agenda. Yeah, they still seem to be voting for him more than... Oh, we're now ahead in Minnesota, which is interesting. We're actually ahead in a couple states now. Alaska, Nevada, get in there in Florida. We just need to get there in D.C. Despite Social Security reform being one of your campaign messages 4 years ago, you've done little to actually deliver on that promise. What will you aim for in a second term? If I'm reelected, I'm going to make saving Social Security a focal point of my administration. It will only be strengthened under the Lehman presidency, not defunded or privatized. The economic circumstances demand something like this. Is this still Joe Lieberman? Tancredo immediately questions your position and asks whether where you'll be getting the money for this. Kucinich, on the other hand, remains quietly content with raising taxes, already having hashed out his more revolutionary proposal. Well, you have some time and some money to spare, so we're better to spend it on than some campaign visits. Just say the word and I'll have you off to anywhere of your choosing. Can I go to Bermuda, please? That sounds nice right around now. No? Okay. Well, I know the Northeast and they know me, especially the Republicans up there. I'm sure they'd much rather vote for me than Tancredo. It's true New England conservatives are very wary of Tancredo and what he represents. However, this kind of Republican is a dying breed. It makes you question your own obsolescence. Well, DC, here we go. Something that's become notable about your political career is your environmental activism. You've consistently supported eco-friendly legislation and made your environmental policy a key point in 2004. How will you utilize this? Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. The current economic situation as it stands, I will prioritize job creation over environmental regulations. Yes, even in the coal industry. Oh. Okay. It's music to Appalachia's ears, but liberals elsewhere are furious at your betrayal. Kucinich sits back as environmentally conscious voters continue to gravitate towards him. And yet we're winning. Might pull through in Ohio, actually. Ever since the tragedy, that national tragedy, when Al-Qaeda launched a series of terrorist attacks on U.S. soldiers, the country has been engaged in a war on terror involving interventions in the Middle East and domestic counterterrorism operations. You have readily opposed terrorism during your presidency and remains a hot-button issue in this election cycle. How do you clarify your position? Well, my opponents do not believe in this country's current actions against terrorism. My opponents, excuse me. For one, Congressman Tancredo believes that Islamic terrorism is caused by the Islamic faith itself, and that Muslim holy sites need to be taken out. This kind of talk is dangerous and bigoted. Blatant Hearts love his response, but the average American readily believes in Tancredo's fear-mongering. Recent polling suggests that a majority of Americans are somewhat worried or very worried about them or a loved one being a victim of terrorism. Well, recently stories come out about Congressman Tancredo attending an event organized by neo-Confederates and the White Nationalist League of the South back in '06. Reportedly, this venue he spoke at was covered in Confederate imagery. A group of men dressed in Confederate uniforms ended off his speech by singing Dixie. How will he capitalize off of this? This is blatant racism on Tancredo's part. I wholeheartedly condemn hateful organizations like these, and hope Tancredo will do the same. This kind of behavior is dangerous and wrong. This is relatively the same as what Kucinich was saying. It's also a pretty good attack. Americans, even Tancredo supporters, aren't too keen on this kind of outright racism. Oh God, we're almost at. Well, we're ahead in Texas. My God. The issue of the war of Afghanistan, though not as preeminent as Iraq, it's been a major one ever since Bush first invaded back in '01. The stated goals of the war were to take down Al-Qaeda and, most importantly, capture Osama bin Laden. The country is currently under occupation. Bin Laden remains in hiding, and your continued support for the occupation has garnered much controversy. Well, I cannot reasonably support a full withdrawal, but the war is clearly unpopular. When we begin transferring responsibility for the occupation to the Afghan government, we will have peace with honor. For once, your foreign policy is actually seen as somewhat sensible. Your Afghanization plan is supported by all but the most radical isolationists who just happen to be your opponents. It says we're in second place now, which isn't mathematically correct, but popular vote-wise, yeah, actually, I'll take that. DC, here we go. In more news, Kuchinik has recently praised Syrian President Bashar al-Assad when asked about foreign policy in the Middle East. Kuchinik has connected this back to your policy in Iraq, saying that Assad's acceptance of Iraqi refugees is a humane response to the, quote, disaster in Iraq, unquote. How do you respond? This is a shocking development. President Assad is a dictator through and through. Has held rigged elections to remain in power. The fact that any respectable politician or democracy that endorses his actions is unacceptable. Kuchinik must go. Very good. Don't let Kuchinik get away with supporting a dictator. He attempts to defend himself from attacks from you and Tancredo, but he takes a sharp drop in the polls. Oh my god, we're actually ahead. We're not winning, but we're actually ahead. One notable part of your career is your opposition to violent video games. Famously, you led a series of congressional hearings regarding video game violence during your time in the Senate. To what extent will you mention this? This is old news. Those hearings were in the 90s. I'd rather talk about something else. No harm, no foul. Well, things are bad, Joe. The economy is only slowly improving. Congress has been called once more to discuss the economy. The GOP advisors are keen on passing a tax break, but liberals are protesting this en masse. What do you do? If I go too far either way, someone is going to leave upset. Instead, I like to push a compromise for Congress. It'll take everything we have to move this country forward. While skeptical, Congress does find a reasonable compromise with your help. You pass minor tax cuts, bailouts, and targeted relief programs to help the economy get back into shape. Hopefully, this will work. After all that's happened, the economy's still in a slump, and worse yet, your polling numbers are too. There are signs that things are changing, though, and after that, you and Congress have done to help ease the blow of this recession. All you can do now is hope. I hope I didn't fail you, America. Things are looking up. The economy's bouncing back thanks to the recovery programs passed by you in Congress. Taking most of the credit for the recovery, and your opponents lose a lot of steam. Joe's new deal. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Let's visit Utah. Now we're heading Utah. It's been a long few months, Joe, but election day is less than a week away. What do you want this campaign to wrap up? It's so tight everywhere, you know. We'll just go to... Oh, the West has been very receptive to my message so far. Want to head out there one last time and maybe even make a stop in California. You visit out west, gather crowds of people excited about your growing centrist, anti-partisan movement. Even get McCain to join you at a few rallies. Well, here we go. Let's see what ends up happening, Well, Indiana and Kentucky came in for us. Virginia came in for us. We have every single state coming in for us. Yeah, I can't say this looks like it's particularly close right now, because it really is not. We already won. Yeah, no. closest state was like Utah. Oh, DC. Not we even won DC too. Look at that. Up to Nebraska. And all 2 of their electoral votes. Oh! Boo! What the fuck, Nebraska? I got 50 Shades of Grey and the 2 Amigos. So you know what? 536 to 2. I guess it could be worse. The president was speechless. Nobody had expected Joe's last-minute third-party campaign to make it far. Naturally, he, of all people, was shocked to find that he won every state in the Union. Everyone was against him. The world, the party, the voters, even the system itself. But that meant nothing. Oftentimes during the campaign, he found himself wondering why he even bothered running in the first place. He supposed that now he had his answer. The president ad-libbed his victory speech. He didn't remember any of it afterwards. His opponents attempted to reach out. It was customary to congratulate the victor, after all. Lieberman didn't even pick up. He let it ring. Joe's reasoning made sense. Did they even matter anymore? Did people care about them or what they represented? Was America finally freed from its partisan nightmare? President Lieberman allowed the night to continue. It all felt like a blur to him. 50 Shades of Grey. How Lieberman conquered America and a racist conquered my heart. Huh? By James Carhart. Most people remember where the war when it happened, like 9/11, the JFK assassination, and Pearl Harbor before it. Somewhat so shocking, so altogether horrifying that it forever got carved up into the public psyche. Lieberman winning all 50 states. I, for one, was in a bar, drowning my sorrows in a non-alcoholic beer, talking to a fellow campaign strategist, one for the Tancredo campaign. It wasn't typical at all, especially not for our 2 campaigns, so diametrically opposed to each other in values and goals. Yet here we were, a pansexual democratic socialist twink from the Bronx, and a muscular ex-corporate lobbyist with a Confederate flag in its man cave sharing a drink. I assume this only ends in them, you know. Well, we'll see, won't we? It was only the most bizarre national circumstance that brought us together. It was only the most dull feeling of total defeat that forged our bond. The idea seemed ridiculous. Joe Lieberman, perhaps the least interesting president in American history, had revived Washington's mandate. A man cast out by pundits only months prior seemed as a lame duck, a bureaucrat scrambling and clinging to power he was doomed to lose. Had conquered the world. Other man of greater and more terrifying stature had come close. Nixon, the scheming bastard, came within a few thousand votes. Most grandiose presence of Reagan came even closer. And the one to seal the deal was a moderate Jewish senator running a third-party bid. In that way, he was similar to Washington, not in that he was Jewish, but that he ran as an independent was unheard of, but so was the intense relationship that quickly formed between me and Jerry, the Republican I met at the bar. Nobody expected Lieberman to win Nebraska. Well, I guess he didn't win Nebraska now, did he? Nobody expected me and Jerry to be anything more than a one-night stand. I fucking called it. I didn't even pregame this shit chat. I called it. A blink in the eye of our lives. He would go back into the closet, back to his self-hatred, and I to mine. Back to the shell of my career, picking up the pieces of my reputation burned to the ground by Kucinek's grand failure. But the flame burned on. Lieberman began passing legislation at a rate not seen since the days of LBJ, and yet little seemed to change. Some healthcare reform here, a minor bombing campaign there. It was managerial, boring, and yet we loved each other. That was what mattered. Even when he told his parents and they disowned him, even when I told my friends and they told me I was insane to date a Tancredo staffer, we loved each other. Lieberman passed a housing bill in 2010. It was still difficult adjusting to life living with someone who'd spent so long diametrically opposed to my ideals. He was still conservative, still shaking off biases, still passionately against welfare. I had to get him to swallow his pride when the bills were tight, and he made me reconsider that extra expenses. America was in an era of unprecedented bipartisanship. 4 years later, Lieberman's number 2 again found independent success, winning in an albeit less impressive and landslide. Our wedding went well, even though his side was mostly empty. Friends came along to compensate, and our major spending bill passed by the thinnest margins. The president suffered a major scandal within his administration, and that began to break down a lot of the independent, nonpartisan attitude that Lieberman years had created. It's now 2020. We both changed our party registration to independent last year and picked her up from the hospital yesterday. Our lesbian friend was the surrogate. We are naming her Liella Berman Carhart. Wow. Nonpartisan. Welcome to Nonpartisan Uno from the Uno Wiki. Release date November 12th, 2019. Number cards 112. Number cards 012 345 6789. Action cards: draw 2 card, reverse card, skip card, wild draw 4 card, customizable wild card, and the veto card. The colors of cards: orange, yellow, green, and purple. Nonpartisan Uno is a Uno variant created to reduce political discussions during gameplay. Nonpartisan Uno achieves this by replacing red and blue cards, the colors typically associated with two major political parties in the United States, with orange and purple ones. Additionally, if a player talks about politics during the game, the other two players can use a new veto card on them, skipping their turn as punishment. 2 comments. Why did they feel the need to make this Uno? It was made to be nonpartisan, obviously, or to expand the color palette of Uno cards. SpongeBob Me Bob retorts with the classic retort. Yeah, but, who's thinking about politics while playing Uno? It takes a special kind of stupidity not to understand the purpose of this game. Joe Osum says, "Yo, they finally made Lieberman Uno." Sorry, what do you mean by this? Also, please spell Uno with all caps next time. Fake fan. Charles 1977 retorts, "Lieberman was such a tool. Don't tell me they actually made a game to capitalize off of that loser." Joe Awesome. Bro, he single-handedly fixed the 2008 recession and won every state. Una Moss asks, "Please refrain from discussing World War politics on this wiki, or I'll have to use the veto card." Oh, he got him. He sure got him. Fucking Nebraska. How close was it? 3,000 votes. Utah, about 11,000. Nebraska's first, which is supposed to be the really Republican one, we won. Nebraska's third, we also won. Nebraska's second is Omaha, so it's supposed to be really liberal, and we also won that. So I don't know how we lost Nebraska, but won every congressional district. I don't think that's mathematically possible. Someone in the comments can confirm or deny that for me. Let's see how else we did close state-wise. Utah, about 11,000. Nebraska's first, how they model it, 15 votes. Idaho, 11,000. And Kansas, 30,000. Overall results, historically we win by 8. And we pick up Mike Bloomberg. That's funny. Any further reading? And here's a historical vote count. It's based off of... Thanks for playing my first ever mod. Well, that was fun. That was very fun. Solid effort for your first mod. Good job, whoever this was. I forgot to catch the name. Anyway, I'm going to leave things there, friends. I got to get ready for work, and I got to get this video uploaded. But I thank you all as always for watching and for joining me for this month of July. I hope I didn't say November before. I'm tired. You guys can forgive me. If you like this video, like, if not, feel free to dislike, leaving comments, feedback down in the comments section below. I read all comments again, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links down in the box below, leaving comments and feedback down in the comments section below. I read all comments again, and I do appreciate any feedback you might have for me. And yeah, I'm just going to leave things there. Thanks for watching, my friends, and I will see you next time. Yes, it was absolutely worth it. Bye-bye.